Ringo Starr album, Look Up.
Even the album cover is terrible too.
Look Up is the 21st studio album by English drummer Ringo Starr. It was released on January 10th, 2025. It is his first studio album in 5 years and first full country album by the former Beatles drummer. So, Eric, your thoughts on Ringo Starr's foray into country? Because apparently everyone who has ever
It's the
existed
fad.
can now do country.
It's the fad now. So first of all, I have to say this album cover, like, look at that big nose. Like, look at that gigantic nose on there. Like, it's huge. It's like
The
that
angle doesn't help.
alcoholic. It's like that alcoholic nose. That's just massive. But
The angle does not help. The hat does
not.
not help.
Yeah, not saying that he's a alcoholic by means, but who knows? So this is one of those albums, and I don't know if anybody listening, any fans listening, remembers me talk about that Bon Jovi album.
Oh, Forever.
Last year, Forever, and how
Garbage.
I think we had a scheduling conflict, and we ended up having to listen to it a little bit longer
Yes.
than usual.
Yeah.
And I remember, and it still fucking happens when I say to tell my Siri HomePods to play music. It'll just randomly show a song on that fucking album, and it drives me insane. And it will do it multiple times within like a night, which is crazy. And it's starting to do it with this goddamn album too. So now I'm getting Bon Jovi and Ringo Starr attacking me when I just want to listen to like random music and not like have something set. I mean, there's nothing really special about this album. It's literally like I went online and got AI to say, "Hey, I would like to know what the Beatles sound like country." And this is exactly what it is. It's the Beatles country. That's
It's
it.
true.
You don't even need to say like he could have called it Look Up by the Beatles. And everybody would have thought, "Oh my god, were these like lost takes that John Lennon and George Harrison were part of?" Like, you could convince somebody like, "Oh yeah, Paul McCartney's playing bass on this album."
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It was literally like listening to the Beatles, and they're in this alternate universe, this multiverse where they just played country music. And the thing about this album too, which I don't know if whether it pissed me off. I don't really know how I feel about this point, but I you might agree with me on this. Is that when listening to it, it was almost, it had this feel that it was like, I've done country all my life.
Yeah.
It wasn't even like this is my first kick of the cat. Like, he's coming out with this album and it's just like, what are you talking about? I'm a country musician.
Yeah.
That's the impression I got from this.
Yeah, there's a bit of arrogance there, which I feel like might be part of the course for Ringo Starr because he is a Beatle. So, like, are you going to question Ringo Starr on musicality? Probably not. But yeah, there's a bit of that. Yeah, I've done country forever. This is what it is.
Yeah.
But I do agree with you. It does sound very Beatles. It sounds very 60s British, but country, which is so weird.
It 100% does. I don't know any other song that that really stands out
I don't think
terms of like a hit, right?
Yeah,
and it's all like even there was one song, I think it was here, let me look. I don't want to do any copyright laws here. Well, let's give your opinion here while I look for this goddamn song.
But yeah, like the whole album is very like it's samey. Like I think the first listen to it, I was like, okay, this is sort of interesting because it's like it's a little different. But at the end of the day, like nothing really stood out in the whole album.
No. So the song is actually the self-titled "Look Up."
Oh, the second one. Yeah.
And it reminded, like, there were certain songs in this album, especially that song, that I was like, I feel like I've heard this before in another song. Like and it sounds like the same kind of like riff.
Hmm.
And I want to say it's like in the 70s kind of like the
Yeah.
music. So I don't know whether or not he's like, "Oh, I really like this riff in the 70s and I'm going to just add it like a little country twang to it and then make it my own."
Uh, yeah, maybe. I mean, okay, so here's the thing with this album. Ringo Starr didn't actually write this album. He got
No, fuck you. No, he did.
all
He did
tracks.
write this album.
All tracks are written by T-Bone Barrett, who is a rather popular songwriter within, the whole. He's been around for decades, but all tracks on this album were written by T-Bone Barrett. So I don't really know what Ringo Starr did outside of just singing on this album.
So he didn't even play drums?
I don't think so. I could look it up just to double check, but
Okay, so this album, you know what it should be? It should be him removed, and it should just be just like the white background. That's what it should be called.
but
Just
that'd be the White Album.
Ringo
The White
Starr.
Album.
Yeah, he's not even looking up. That's the funny thing about this, right? I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Okay, so he does do drums. He's credited with drums on all tracks, lead vocals, obviously. He performs percussion on the first track, which is Breathless, and he does the whistling on track 6, which is Come Back.
Oh God. Okay, at least he played the drums.
Yeah, and I don't
Right.
think anyone else did drums. I'm just taking a quick look. Someone did the wood block on track 2.
The wood block.
Yeah, honestly, Ringo probably could have done the wood block himself. Like, that's not that difficult.
It's probably like, yeah, I don't do wood blocks. I don't do them.
But yeah, he did the drums on all the tracks, which fine. But it's funny because like we both came out of this saying like this is the Beatles. It sounds like the Beatles, but country, and I think maybe that's two credits T-Bone Burnett as being an excellent songwriter because he captured what the Beatles' essence was, but just made it country. He did the assignment properly, right? He was hired and paid to make a Beatles record that sounds country, and that's exactly what he gave us.
So in your theory there, anyone is able to do this.
No, not anyone. Specifically, T-Bone Burnett
T-Bone
has-
Burnett, that's right.
was given an assignment to make
And he completed the task.
yeah.
I would have never have thought T-Bone would have written anything about this album. Like I for sure thought, and it just goes to show you Ringo's songwriting capabilities here. Okay, because he is a Beatle. He is like
Beatle.
I would say he's a Beatle by association.
Yeah. He was just there.
He's a Beatle. He was just there, and they were like, "We don't know any other drummers, so you're the guy." So it just shows you that like Ringo as a Beatle couldn't even create
The Beatles.
a Beatles sounding country record.
Yeah. I mean, it's wild. Like, I don't even know why. Like, why even attempt this? Like, why does Ringo Starr need to do a country album? I just don't know why it needs to exist. I think from the perspective of T-Bone, I think it's a 10 out of 10 from his perspective.
100%. It should have been "Look Up" by T-Bone, the Beatles country experience,
Because he did exactly what he was asked to do. Produce or create a Beatles country album.
He did a phenomenal job.
Yeah.
A phenomenal job.
10 out of 10.
Like I was convinced when I listened to this, I'm like, oh yeah, this is Ringo Starr. He's a Beatle. He wrote this to be a Beatle sounding country record, and he didn't even fucking write the thing. So I give 100% credit. Like my credit goes higher for T-Bone now, knowing that knowledge.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks, Chasing Dragonflies. Yeah, it's good to be back.
Hmm.
I forgot
It
like
is
how
good to be back.
ridiculous. There's so much music out there that's just absolutely ridiculous. Like an album like this, I don't think should exist. Like no one asked for this. Like
Now, I have to ask, who does the country album better? Now I'm taking away T-Bone. Okay, I'm taking away T-Bone because
mhm.
he did a great job. And I'm not comparing that. Did you think Ringo holds up as the like picture or essence of a country album, or does Beyonce do a country album better?
Oh no, for sure the Beatles, or for not the Beatles. Sorry, for sure Ringo Starr, like 100%. Because like at least I can I can listen to this and be like, yeah, this is a country album. At least
Even in
somewhat.
2025, Cowboy Carter can't beat Ringo Starr, which wasn't even written by him.
Right? Like I don't know I don't know in what world this the casual listener when they first listen to this, I think most people will lean that this is a country album. Right?
Mhm.
Like they would say pop country. I think would be the main genres they would say. Whereas the Beyonce record, Cowboy Carter, I still think people would say it is pop and some sort of electronic dance type of album.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's fair. That is fair. I still think this album sounds like you put it into AI. And that just shows you how good T-Bone is. Because he definitely, like you said, he got the assignment down.
Yeah.
Because I thought for sure, like I didn't know who wrote this album. And I was convinced, I'm like, this is like Ringo Starr took a song and was like, oh, make this country. Why they see I make this country. That's probably a terrible British accent for that era of Britain,
I
but
don't know. I think that's spot on.
mhm. It's
um
funny because the show I just played at at Wolf Brewing,
mm.
the bartender is from England and he's from Liverpool.
Oh,
So
nice.
he's such a solid dude. So I played Morning Glory by Oasis,
Oh,
and
nice.
I dedicated the song to him. Like, I hope you like the band
I
because I know
feel like yeah,
some people hate
but
Oasis.
also the wrong region, no?
It is the wrong region, but I'm like, so he thought for sure. He's like, I almost like cut you off at the bar because he's like, I thought you were going to. He has like the thick Liverpool accent too.
Mhm.
It's like I thought you were going to play the Beatles, and I was very happy you didn't.
Oh, he doesn't like the Beatles. That's
Yeah,
hilarious.
can't stand them. He thinks that they shouldn't be as big as they are.
Ooh,
Those are his exact words, and that's somebody from
from
Liverpool.
Liverpool. I feel like there is a bit of a hometown bias when it comes to bands. Like the
Mhm.
hometown band is never proud of their homegrown talent.
Yeah,
When you
like
think
you
like
two.
U2, everyone in Dublin
Yeah,
just like hates U2.
they fucking hate them. It's crazy.
It's just like, yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah.
But anyways, Eric, final thoughts, ratings. Let's wrap this thing up.
I mean, I think we should rename the artist to T-Bone. Um, if this was like if T-Bone was on the name of this album,
Mm.
I would give it probably a 8, 9 out of 10.
Really? Oh shit.
Because like you said,
Um,
it was like
the
create a
assignment.
Beatles album.
Yep.
Its assignment was very well done.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't even say like there's something that you need to change. Maybe other than get another Beatles singing the songs.
Yeah. From the perspective of the
Mm,
objective is to get a Beatles country album. Yeah, okay, I agree
yeah.
with you. An 8 or a 9.
You
Yeah.
you passed. It would have been a 10 out of 10 if you got like Paul McCartney, because this is the only other one that's alive.
Yep.
Right. But because Ringo Starr is the head of this, and because his face is on this album, and it's you you pick the most obnoxious, like I don't like I'm not buying that you're a cowboy. You know, I'm just not buying it. Like, look at you. Like, look at him.
Yeah.
At least,
No.
at least Beyonce had like I was like, this is totally like that,
Oh, yep. Yep.
like
Mhm.
Dixieland, like country style, like even what she was wearing on the horse and everything,
Yep.
right? Like totally fit, right? This is like a portrait that you would get at school, in like high school or grade 8, and you're just like, oh shoot, I didn't do my hair or whatever, right? And then your picture ends up being shit, and you have to show it to your whole family, right?
So you put this hat on.
Yeah, so you put this hat on to cover your shitty hair because you didn't wash it or some shit, right? So I'm gonna have to give this album a, you know what, like it wasn't like the songs weren't like awful. I wasn't like killing myself, but it
Mm.
was like they're just generic songs. I'm gonna give this a 3 out of 10. That's what I'm gonna give it. I'm giving it a 3 out of 10. Mhm,
A 3. Oh my
mhm,
god. Um it's such a big swing from a 9 to a 3.
mhm.
Um
But that's T-Bone's album though.
yes, yes, yes,
T-Bones gets the 9.
yes. Yeah.
Ringo gets the 3.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just too generic. Like, yes, it does sound like the Beatles does country, but man, there is no standout track. There's no melody I can remember from this thing. It's just like,
Mhm,
okay, this is music at least, but it's pretty boring.
mhm.
Once you get over the shock of like a Beatles song that sort of sounds country, you're like, okay, that's I'm done after track 1. We're good here.
Mhm.
um but yeah, I'm sort of on the same train as you. I'm gonna give it a little higher. I will give it a 4.
I was gonna go with 4, but I'm like, no, you know what?
Yeah,
3.
I'm
I'm
gonna
giving it a
give it a
3.
4 just because I didn't hate it, but it is definitely
Mhm.
below average. It is a below average album, so I'm gonna give it a 4.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. Um, what a way to start the year, eh?
I know. It's funny because when like yesterday, I was thinking, I'm like, man, we're starting 2025 with fucking Ringo Starr. I'm like, I've been listening to this album for the month of February, and I'm like, and it's like the stupid Siri thing is happening on my home pods and shit, and I'm just like, man, like this is gonna be like, we need a bigger album to start off with. And so when I messaged you, you're like, all right, well, we'll do it.
Yeah.
But I think it was a good start to the year because we
Yeah.
definitely destroyed this album.
Yeah. Anyways, for those of you following along with us every single week, I believe this will be the first for this podcast, but we're going to dive a little bit overseas. We're going to go K-pop this time. We're going to
Ooh.
be listening to and discussing Alter Ego by Lisa, one of the members of Blackpink, one of her solo albums that just came out. So we're going to be discussing this one. It's going to be interesting because Eric, I'm pretty sure you're not a K-pop fan. Uh,
I all I know, and I wouldn't even know if this is considered K-pop to the K-pop fans, is Gundam Style. Like that's the
that's
only,
K-pop.
yeah, that's the only one I know. I can't even remember like who is by Psy.
Psy, yeah.
Psy. Okay, good.
Do you
Yeah.
know
So
that this is like a side tangent, but Psy has lost a lot of weight, and for some reason, people online are complaining that he lost too much weight.
what is wrong with people?
I
what
don't
is
know.
what is wrong with poor guy? Like literally was like probably struggling with his weight
Yeah,
his whole life, and was like, you know what? Today's the day I'm gonna get myself into gear and get after it. And then he loses all this weight, and people are like, "What the fuck?
yeah,
Fuck you!"
and I don't know if this is a joke or not, but like people on Twitter or whatever the frick it's called now, he's been responding to them and apologizing. Like they start complaining that he's lost too much weight, and he just responds to them saying sorry.
I get to see him going on social media, just like eating like just chicken wings. Just like just fucking just pounding them back just to be like, I'm sorry guys. It won't happen again.
But yeah, next week, Alter Ego by Lisa, the brand new solo album by Lisa of Blackpink. So it should be an interesting conversation for next
Is
week.
this our first K-pop album?
I believe so. I can't remember if we've done any K-pop. I'm pretty
Because
sure this
we've
is the
done
first one.
baby metal, but that's not
Yeah, that's
K-pop.
J-pop, J-metal-ish,
J metal. Yeah.
Kawaii metal, J-metal, something there.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is Korean pop, so we'll see.
Watch. I feel like this podcast has really opened so many doors, and watch me just be like a diehard K-pop fan
That'd
now.
be so funny. Then you have to buy the $950 ticket for Blackpink.
And you're gonna see like this background with my guitars. It's all gonna be just like super K-pop back here, and I'm gonna have like the frosted like tip on my hair.
That'd be hilarious. But yeah. Anyways, thanks everyone for tuning in for the first episode of the year, Crossroads Music Podcast. We're back at it. We're here live at twitch.tv/the Crossroads Music Podcast. Again, next week on Monday at 10 p.m. ET, 7 p.m. PT. Catch us on Spotify, Apple Music, all the places where you get your podcast. Oh, my system's all broken, so we're just gonna end stream. We're not gonna raid out because I can't do it. This first stream back, so that's how things go. But thanks everyone for tuning in, and we will catch you all next time.